banks began noticing something strange. Customers across different cities were reporting fraudulent charges, yet their cards had never left their hands. There was no robbery, no visible breach, no sign of forced entry into any system. Still, money was moving, quietly and consistently, as if someone had found a way inside without being seen. How do millions of card numbers disappear without triggering alarms? And who could watch the financial system from the inside while remaining completely invisible? What investigators uncovered was not a single act of theft, but a carefully sustained operation. At the center of it was a man who understood both sides of the system. He had once worked with federal agents, learning how cybercrime was tracked and dismantled. Then, without warning, he stepped back into the shadows. His name was Albert Gonzalez, and the breach he helped create would become one of the largest financial data thefts ever uncovered. Long before his name appeared in federal indictments, Albert Gonzalez was a teenager, drawn to computers and the hidden communities forming around them. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, online forums became gathering points for individuals experimenting with digital intrusion, data theft, and financial fraud. Gonzalez moved through these spaces quickly, learning how stolen card data was collected, traded, and converted into money. What began as curiosity soon became structure. He was no longer observing the system, he was studying how to exploit it. By his late teens, Gonzalez had entered organized carding circles, groups focused on large-scale credit card fraud. These networks operated across borders, relying on anonymity, encryption, and trust between members who rarely knew each other's real identities. Gonzalez proved technically capable and methodical. He understood how to access data, how to move it quietly, and how to avoid drawing attention too early. His role grew, and so did the scale of his activity. Eventually, federal investigators reached him. The arrest marked a turning point, not because it ended his involvement, but because it changed his position. Instead of disappearing into the system as another cybercrime defendant, Gonzalez was pulled closer to it. He was offered an opportunity to cooperate, to help track the very networks he had once been part of. For a time, it appeared that his path had shifted away from crime, but the knowledge he gained during that period would later shape everything that followed. After his arrest, Albert Gonzalez began working with the United States Secret Service as a confidential informant. For investigators, he was valuable. He understood the structure of underground fraud communities, how stolen financial data moved through hidden markets, and how members concealed their identities. Through him, agents gained access to conversations, methods, and networks that were otherwise difficult to penetrate. He appeared cooperative, focused, and willing to help dismantle the very system he once operated in. During this period, Gonzalez learned more than investigators realized. He observed how digital crimes were traced, how evidence was built, and how long it could take for authorities to connect scattered incidents into a single case. He saw the strengths of the system, but also its delays and blind spots. From the outside, it looked like a turning point in his life. He had stepped away from the underground world and moved closer to law enforcement, rebuilding trust while helping expose other offenders. But beneath that surface, something was shifting. Knowledge of investigative tactics can protect a system, but in the wrong hands, it can also be used to avoid detection. Over time, Gonzalez began moving quietly back toward the same digital spaces he once left behind. To those around him, nothing seemed unusual. Yet the experience he gained inside the system was slowly preparing him for a far larger operation, one that would unfold beyond the reach of small-scale fraud and into something much bigger. At some point, the cooperation ended quietly, without announcement. Albert Gonzalez did not step back into cybercrime suddenly. The shift was gradual, calculated, and deliberate. Using the knowledge he had gained while working alongside investigators, he began rebuilding connections within underground circles. This time, his focus was different. Small-scale fraud no longer interested him. He was thinking bigger, looking for systems where a single point of access could yield massive amounts of financial data. Gonzalez assembled a small network of collaborators across different countries, individuals with technical skills and access to specialized tools. Their communication was controlled and selective. Targets were studied carefully before any move was made. The objective was not speed, but persistence. Instead of attacking individuals, they began examining corporate infrastructure, searching for weaknesses that could remain unnoticed for long periods. This was no longer experimentation. It was structured, patient, and methodical. Gonzalez understood how long investigations could take to form, and how important it was to avoid drawing attention too early. Every step was designed to stay below the surface, to extract without disruption, and to leave systems functioning while data quietly moved out. By the time the next phase began, the foundation was already in place. The group had identified a target whose internal systems would soon become the center of one of the largest financial data breaches ever uncovered. The target was TJX Companies, a major retail corporation operating stores across the United States and beyond. Instead of forcing entry through visible disruption, the group searched for a silent opening. They found it in a weakly secured wireless network connected to TJX systems. From a distance, access was gained without triggering immediate alarms. Once inside, the objective was not destruction. It was extraction. Malicious software was introduced into the network, designed to capture payment card data as transactions moved through internal systems. The process was continuous and controlled. Information flowed out slowly, avoiding sudden spikes that might attract attention. Day after day, card numbers, expiration dates, and encrypted details were collected and transferred outward through hidden channels. The system continued operating, customers continued shopping, and nothing appeared visibly broken. Over time, the scale expanded. Tens of millions of credit and debit card numbers were compromised, affecting customers across multiple regions. Financial institutions began noticing unusual fraud patterns tied to cards that had been used at TJX stores. The activity was widespread, yet the source remained unclear. This was not a single breach discovered quickly. It was a quiet, sustained extraction that had been running in the background far longer than anyone realized. As fraudulent transactions multiplied, banks and payment processors began comparing data across regions. Patterns emerged. Many of the compromised cards shared one connection. They had been used at stores linked to TJX. What first appeared as scattered financial fraud began to look like a single, coordinated breach. Quietly, investigators from multiple agencies started assembling the pieces. Digital forensics teams examined network logs, transaction flows, and fragments of malicious code recovered from affected systems. The method suggested patience and technical discipline. This was not the work of opportunistic criminals. It pointed to someone who understood how to remain below detection thresholds for extended periods. International cooperation followed, as stolen card data surfaced in underground markets across borders. Gradually, trails began to converge. Server activity, communication records, and financial movement revealed connections leading back to a familiar name. Albert Gonzalez, once known to investigators as a cooperative informant, was now emerging at the center of the case. Surveillance intensified. Evidence accumulated over time, not through a single discovery, but through a slow and methodical process that rebuilt the path of the breach step by step. The system he once studied from the inside was now studying him. In 2008, after months of surveillance and evidence gathering, federal agents moved in. Albert Gonzalez was arrested in Miami, the investigation culminating in a case that stretched across multiple states and countries. What authorities uncovered went beyond stolen data. They found encrypted storage devices, records of financial transfers, and large amounts of hidden cash, evidence pointing to a long-running operation built on patience and precision. Court proceedings later revealed the scale of the breach. Tens of millions of payment card numbers had been taken, causing widespread financial losses and forcing major institutions to strengthen their security systems. The man who once assisted investigators had used that same knowledge to avoid detection, turning insight into advantage. In 2010, Gonzalez received a lengthy federal sentence, one of the most severe penalties imposed for cybercrime at the time. The case left a lasting impact. It changed how large retailers approached network security and how investigators tracked digital financial crime. There had been no physical break-in, no visible confrontation, yet the effects reached across the global financial system. From behind a screen, a quiet and sustained operation had exposed how vulnerable complex systems could be when trust, access, and knowledge aligned in the wrong hands. If this story held your attention, stay with us for the next case.